Invisible. Something I deal with a lot, and I apologize, it's really loud outside because I'm in the city. But invisible. As a single woman and a solo traveler, and it's not just when traveling, it's all the time. Like, people don't see me. They see me, but they don't see me as a human or someone with an experience. And it's happened a few times on this trip that it's just dawned on me, and it's like, it's hard for me to reconcile. I have like this huge energy, this big like ball of sun and light inside me, a purple aura. Like I have walked into rooms with psychics and blown their energy away with my energy alone, right? And so like this is what I know of me. And so it's really hard for me to understand how that energy and that aura and the wholeness of who I am is just completely invisible to other people at times. It happened twice today. Once I was eating lunch by myself, table of one, and there was a group conference or something, a work group, and they were all like seated at a number of different tables. And this one woman needed to take a phone call, so she stepped away from her table, but she stood right in front of mine and had the whole conversation, like with me listening, as though I wasn't even there. And that happens a lot. And it happened again, like about an hour later. I had a coffee out on a table in the lobby, and I had been sitting there reading a book, and I took a break, and then I came back and sat back down, and this woman was like standing within the space very close to my chair, and she didn't move when I sat back down. Like any like normal person would do that and realize that like, oh, there's someone sitting here and like I'm too close to it. And she even turned and looked at me and then went back to what she was doing without moving. So it's like you saw me, but you don't see me as a valuable person with an experience, right? Like that my experiences are important. The other day we were in the bus and it was getting hot on the window side that I was on, had a lot of sun. It was getting really hot. And we each have our own curtains at the window, and mine was open because I was reading a book. And I was startled by this hand that came through the side of the seat to my curtain. And it was the woman sitting behind me who was like reaching her hand into my space to pull my curtain shut. It was the oddest sensation. It was just an arm and a hand. And it was like, to me, I was like, God, I would never do that. It would never occur to me to do that. I would just suffer. And she's pulling my curtain closed as though I don't matter, that my experience doesn't matter, that I'm not reading a book and relying on that sunlight. So I took it back and I said, I don't want this closed. And so I took it back and reopened it. This stuff happens to me all the time. It's like, it happens with men constantly. Like you're walking down the street and they expect you to move out of their way, or you're standing in a line and they just get in front of you like you're not even there. I don't understand it. I don't understand how the human experience gets prioritized by whether you are with other people or not, or whether you're female or not, or whatever it is. But it's like I'm invisible to these people, that in my experience doesn't matter to them. Me as a human with feelings and thoughts doesn't matter. It's completely just, I am nothing. I am invisible to these people. And it's just something that's really interesting to me to think about. Again, when I think about all this energy and this life force that I'm trying to harness right now, and this, embracing of this new life and wanting to kind of burst forth with this renewed sense of purpose. And I feel like everywhere I walk, I'm carrying this massive energy with me to the point that I fill the room with it. So I shouldn't be invisible. And it's not that I should be important to other people. I don't expect people to acknowledge me per se. But like, you look at me and then look away and determine that I don't matter, that I'm invisible to you. Like, and I know this is something women deal with all the time, particularly women alone. But it's like, do I have to have a male person by my side for my experience to be considered valid, for you to not want to have your phone conversation at my table or next to my chair while I'm reading a book. It happened at the beach, I think it was last summer or maybe the summer before, where a woman was with a group of people and her kids, and she wanted to spray sunscreen on her daughter, but she didn't want to get it, she didn't want to pollute the air of the people she was sitting with. So she came over and stood very close to me and sprayed that sunscreen on her kid. And I looked at her like, I rolled my eyes, and she was like, what? I need to do this. And I was like, in my space? And she's like, well, what would you have me do? Like, and I'm like, go to some place where no one's sitting. And she was angry with me. As again, like, it's important to you that you don't blow sunscreen on the people that you're sitting with, or your spouse, or whatever, or the couples that you're with and the other kids. But it's okay to spray it in my direction. I don't understand that logic or that anger towards me for setting a boundary. And I have to do that a lot, set boundaries, especially when I'm traveling, because, again, even the people that do see me as a resource of someone who they can follow around and talk to, they don't see me as a human with an experience. They don't care whether or not I want them there. They don't care what my thoughts or opinions are. I'm just a vessel for them to use. And so I have had to, again, set boundaries, which other people probably think is prickly and rude. But, there are moments when I do have to say, like, you know what, I'd actually rather be alone. I'd rather eat alone, or I have to just go silent and walk away from them. And I don't want them to feel bad, but I also, I'm a person. And if I had a significant other with me, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't approach. They wouldn't invade my space, because they would recognize that as two people, our experience matters. But as one person, I'm prey. I just have a difficult time reconciling this based on who I know myself to be and who the people that know me to be. Being an invisible person, it doesn't suit me. And by the way, when men expect me to move out of their way walking down the street, I just stand there and hold my ground. And I have had times where they've literally walked into me and nearly knocked me or themselves over. And I have no problem with that. Fine, knock me over, but I'm not getting out of your way, because I am here. I take up space and I matter, and you can walk around me. It's as simple as that. So I will hold my ground, and I will ask people to move, and I will eye roll, and I will have boundaries. And if that makes me a rude person, how is that any ruder than you invading my space and not taking my experience seriously?